Okay, so why is this topic of relationship over religion so near and dear to my heart? Well, that's a part of my major testimony. That is part of where I came from and what my transformation looked like. If any of you knew me back in the day, whoo, you knew that I was a little rough around the edges. I I was your church girl. I grew up in church. I sang all the songs correctly. I served in all the right places. I had the right hair. I had the right clothes. I did everything that I was supposed to do, everything that I was expected to do, that I was raised to do, and that my parents instilled in me. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, that's my story. I lived up as best I could to other people's expectations of me. But in that, as I became an adult, I realized that just because I had learned the rules and regulations and expectations of what I had grown up in with the church, and don't get me wrong, y'all, I had a great church. I had an amazing pastor, and his wife were great. They poured so much into us. So it wasn't anything to do with my pastor or the teachings or the fundamentals that I was taught. I actually had a wide variety of fundamental teachings. I went to a Baptist school, which gave me great biblical grounding, but it was very strict and had a whole lot of rules and regulations, especially for someone who's such a free spirit. And then, I grew up in an AG church who had a whole different set of rules and regulations that, was a little bit, had different expectations of what you should do and how you should be. So I had a wide variety of that, and they weren't bad, but I could not live up to the expectations that were set in front of me through what I was taught, through the theology and um, the religious facilities that I was in. I guess that's the best way to say it. And when I realized that what I said I believed was not what I truly believed, it crumbled everything. So let me explain that. I had a moment, an epiphany, to where I was just kind of living my life the way I wanted to live it and how I was living it. It was not intentional. It was me reacting to everything around me to try and make it. That's the truth. I was just trying to keep my head above water. I, was a young mom. I started at 18. I had 3 kids by the time I was 26. My husband was a little bit older than me, so thank God he was grounded and a little bit more mature. So he helped keep me grounded just a little bit. He tried his best. But I was a wild child, and I had honestly, I was a little spoiled too. And yes, all of you that know me and said I was spoiled, you were right. I was. I was a little spoiled. So I was expecting, I was used to getting what I wanted when I wanted it and how I wanted it. Now, that being said, that means I did what I wanted, when I wanted, anytime I wanted to fulfill whatever gaping desire and need I had inside. Well, when you do that, that leads to a whole lot of sin and a whole lot of hurt and pain for those you're in relationship with, which I caused a lot of. My husband dealt with a lot of things that he shouldn't have had to have dealt with, but he did. Now, all of the things that I did, I never really computed that they went against the moral guidelines that I stated I believed in. So, in other words, my moral compass did not line up with what I stated my moral beliefs were because I was just living out what I wanted to when I wanted to make it. I was trying to keep my head above water and feel something because I had had a hardened heart. I had grown up in church, had had so much religion, had had so much theology thrown at me, had had so much rules, regulations, do's, don't, this is how we do it, that my heart was hardened and I was trying to feel something. So, in that, once I had gotten to the point that I pretty much destroyed everything around me through the actions that I had had an affair. And in that, I almost destroyed my family and almost destroyed my marriage for sure. I realized, okay, I am not saying and doing what I am saying I believe. In other words, I'm not putting up or shutting up. I am walk or talking a good talk, but I'm surely not walking that walk. So in this, I realized that some things have to change. And I asked myself one day, I really got honest with me. And that's a big thing we don't really think about is that are we honest with ourselves? I could lie to myself very easily, y'all. I was a great liar and a great manipulator. I could lie to my husband's face and make him think it was the truth. And he would have this little gut inkling that it wasn't, but I could easily lie to you and tell you what I perceived and wanted the truth to be, and it be the truth. So for me, first and foremost, I had to be honest with myself. And that came down to really authentically looking at me and going, oh my God, I am actually doing this and this and this. And is that really who I want to be? Is that really how I want my children to see me or perceive me? Like, if my kids found out about this, how would they perceive and what would they think? Is that the legacy I want to leave? And so I really sat down and I thought one day, after my entire life was a shamble and everything was broken and on the floor, I thought, if I died today, what would my eulogy read? What do I want people to think or know about me? And at that point, if I were to write out what they did know about me or what they were saying about me, it would not have been a pretty eulogy, y'all. They would have tried to have been nice, but they would not have been able to be honest. That's the truth. And so I really had to go, okay, Dorothy, what do you want your future to be? Who do you want to be? Not who did the church say you needed to be? Who did your mama raise you to be? And she did a great job raising me. So I'm not throwing any stones there. Not who society said you're supposed to be, because, society told me I was too much for anybody and everybody, and you're a little too glam and you're a little too loud and you talk too much. So not who everybody is putting me in the box to be, but who do I want to be? And what kind of woman do I want to be? And that is when I really started saying, you know what? I want to be a godly woman, but I don't know what a godly woman looks like. And that's the truth. I had witnessed and met what I considered godly women, but how do I get from where I'm sitting as an adulterer, as a brash, harsh, not so nice young woman, to a godly woman and not a church woman? And I say that not being mean, because I am a church woman, just so you know. I go to church and I have a grounding and a founding there, but not like, you see on Saturday Night Live, the church lady, because with the right hair and the right suit and in this box of expectation of what I am supposed to be and look like as a churchgoer. That didn't fit for me. As an Enneagram 8, I don't do well being controlled by others. And I don't like to be told what I can and can't do. That's the truth. And so I had to decide who and what I wanted to be and how I wanted that to play out. And I had to really ask the Lord to show me. So that is where I realized I was looking for a relationship with God that I didn't have. I had had encounters with Him as a young girl, but I had not cultivated a relationship. And I had been told about relationships with God. My pastors, when I was a teenager and younger, had spoken about it, but it just didn't sink in or take in that way. And so now that I was craving a relationship, I thought, okay, let's try this again. And God had such great timing. He moved me into the church that I'm in now and gave me a great pastor and mentor that helped kind of walk through what relationship with God looked like and what becoming a whole person in Christ looked like. And so through that, I began to understand that relationship trumps religion all day long. That a relationship with God, a healthy relationship with God, a whole relationship with God will take religion and squash it. And that's the truth. Now, it's not that we won't go to church and have fellowship and we won't have faith and grow our faith, but religion has a lot to do with theology, which there's a lot of different theologies out there. So I'm not going to debate theology with you. I'm going to talk about and state what my grounding is and what my belief is. And I had to question every bit of it. I questioned, what do I believe? Do I really even believe in the Bible? Do I really even believe in Christianity? What is this? What does this doctrine say? And how do I feel about that? Where am I going to start to bounce everything off of? In other words, I have to have a center focus on my compass. And what am I going to compass my life around? What is that center focus going to be? And for me, it's the Bible, it's the word. And to me, that's where my faith and my grounding comes from. So if I don't know what I think about something, or if I don't know how to navigate something, I am going to go to the word and I'm going to say, okay, what do you say about this? What does the word say, and how does that navigate me in this relationship with God? How does that help me move closer into the relationship with God and have communication with Him? So at that point, when I decided, okay, I'm really not seeking church. I had church up to here. I was born in church. I was raised in church. I went to school in church. When I was seeking a relationship, I had to learn and press into first my relationship with God. And that right there was a saving grace for me. How do you cultivate a healthy relationship with God? I didn't know how. So I went back to the beginning and I was like, okay, Adam and Eve had a great relationship with God till the enemy came in. So what did that look like? What did Eve have? So I did a study on Eve to kind of learn what a great relationship with God looked like. But in any relationship, it has to grow and it has to be healthy. And so I had to start growing a healthy relationship with the Lord. So, what does that mean? Hmm? Healthy relationships really are connective relationships. They're relationships that you're vulnerable with each other. Their relationships are that you build trust with each other, that there's communication with each other. I mean, think about it. You're not going to be in a relationship with someone that you don't communicate with. You're not going to be in a relationship with someone you don't trust. You're even not going to be in a relationship with someone that you don't believe is committed to you. I mean, if you're not feeling safe emotionally in a relationship, it's not a healthy relationship. So, how do I grow all of these things into a healthy relationship with God? And not a church building and not a religious system. Because for me, I believe that religion is a great supplement to build faith. But I don't, and I believe that going to church is a great way to make connections with other like minded people. But I don't believe that that is solely going to build your relationship with God. It's not going to completely nurture it, it's not going to grow it. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to want that. You're going to have to engage in that. You're going to have to be intentional with that, just like you are with any other relationship with it that you're in. You're going to have all of that in there. So I started pursuing a relationship with God in the same way I would pursue a relationship with a person. Now, that being said, I didn't necessarily have healthy relationships with people. At that point in time, not many people liked me. And I don't know that I liked many people either. But that was also because I didn't have a healthy relationship with God or myself. So after I started my journey of pursuing a relationship with God, talking to Him, and communication with God is prayer, y'all. That's what they call prayer. Just talk to Him, just have a communication. But it's not just one sided. I had to wait and hear from Him and let Him communicate to me also. So it was a dual interactive relationship. And that is key when you're starting to build a healthy relationship with God. It's interactive. It's two way. It's not just me asking for this and this and this and help and do. It's Him saying, hey, I'm here. And this is what I want to talk to you about. And this is what I see for you. And this is what I want to do in and with you. This is what I want to partner with you in. And, sometimes it's just being together and adoring each other, having worship time and having a time that I get to adore Him and talk to Him, and having a time that He adores me and floods love over me. So it's interactive. So once I started doing that, I then had to learn how to have a healthy relationship with me. Oh man, that was hard. That was hard. I had a lot of internal dialogue that was very unhealthy. Maybe that was abusive. I would say things to myself that I would never consider saying to one of my children or to someone else. Um, I would also, maybe not fully accept who I was because I had been told that good girls or girls that are godly look like this, act like this, and speak like this. And I didn't have the want to or desire to look like that, act like that, or speak like that. So to me, that felt like rebellion. And that was even labeled, by certain church settings and certain religious institutions as rebellion. But the authenticity of who God created me to be started coming to the forefront when I started spending time with him and getting to know him and beginning a intimate, close, connective relationship with him. That's actually when the pink started showing up. When I started allowing God to tell me who he made me to be, the brightness started coming back, the joy started setting in, the fullness of the glamour started showing up because that is the beautiful thing that he placed in me, that he delights in, and that I delight in, and that I receive joy from. So, all of those things I unapologetically allow to sit in the forefront of who I am because he created me that way. And that's okay. It's different. It may not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. He created you with your cup of tea. So he taught me to have a healthy relationship and mindset about me and who he authentically created me to be. And it was okay for me to be me. Now, did I need to grow me and mature me and develop me and grow into the woman I wanted to become? Absolutely. Did I need to change things? Absolutely. But guess what? Between him and I, we together got to choose what I needed to change, how I needed to change it, and what that looked like. Did it always line up with what I was taught growing up in church institutions? No, not always. But am I okay with that? I am. Because as long as it lines up with his word, and as long as it lines up with the relationship that I have cultivated with him and he approves it, it's all that matters for me. That is my navigational beaker, his word and his voice of approval. That's what I'm looking for. And everybody else, they're just icing on the cake. So then after that, I really was able to start being vulnerable, openly vulnerable and authentic with people like you and with people that I go to church with and with people in my family and with those around me to build deep friendships because I had been able to heal from past relationships that I had had maybe in the church that were painful and hurt because I was hurt and I was flawed and I needed a relationship restoration with Christ. And I couldn't have a relationship restoration with other people until I had a relationship restoration with him and a relationship restoration with me. So once I had healed enough to do that, I was able to have a relationship restoration with all those around me, to be openly vulnerable with you guys, to openly share what I've been through and what I've learned from it with you guys in hopes that it encourages you that you can do it too. I mean, I don't know if you can get any lower than I was whenever I started this journey, but he showed up at the right time with the right people, with the right messages to help draw me into him relationally, not just religiously. So that's what this whole series is about. That's a little bit of my background. That's a little bit of where I come from. But this whole series that we're going to be talking about is building a healthy relationship with God, yourself, and others. So I really hope you'll join me over the next few weeks. I'm going to have some great guests. They're going to be lots of fun. We're going to have lots of glam. We're going to have lots of laughs, but we're also going to have lots of wisdom and encouragement and stories to go along with it. So I will see you then. And I hope that you will join me and make some comments, ask some questions, and let's just talk about what you've got going and what you're concerned about so that we can do life together, make connections together, and build relationships.